with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Wednesday morning out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. It's Wednesday, so Big Elk football will be in the spotlight. It will not be the head coach today, though. He had some other things he had to attend to. So defensive coordinator Johnny Eastham will be in here to talk Canadian, talk Carl Albert, maybe even look a little bit ahead into the district race. And so he will be here about 9:45. So we'll have Coach Eastham in the house to be able to talk to him. So appreciate him stopping by. College football. I know it's only 2 weeks, Jared, but I want you to give me something that you like that you've seen from OU and OSU, and maybe something that you haven't liked through 2 weeks for both schools. Is there something around the country that you're just shocked that has happened? And then what's maybe something that you're going to beat your chest out, puff your chest out a little bit, going, I told you so. I told you that was going to happen. With college football anyway. Your Rangers, back from the dead. Tied in the loss column? At what cost?
At what cost?
Well, listen, they've dealt with injuries all year. They're starting to get some of the guys in the field back. Mm-hmm. But, man, there they are. We'll take a look at the pennant chases, the wild card chases with 2.5 weeks left. Brutal, brutal, brutal loss for the Elks yesterday. Man, that was just watching, thinking, oh, yeah, 4-0, top of the sixth after Lou went deep. And all of a sudden, man, okay, what's Weatherford's schedule? If they trip up, could this be a district title? And then, ouch. But not all is lost. We'll tell you why. Look at the standings at 4A1, 2A1, and 2A2 as well as the fast pitch regular season is coming down, kind of winding down to the end here in the next couple of weeks as well. And also, Thunder Arena talk. As the plans were unveiled, the idea is out there. Now this could be a pretty interesting discussion with the voters of Oklahoma City between now and then. I have some numbers that I will tell everybody about that make me lean toward this is a no-brainer on one side or the other. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We'll talk about any of those things, whatever else might be on your mind. Feel free to chime in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, couple of ways to stay in touch with the show. Log on to kadsam.com or download the app. The app's got it all. I mean, everything. Radio, Penny News, brand new edition of the Penny News hit the website last night at midnight at thepennynews.com. You can check out Big Elk and Paragon TV as well through the app. You've got the Big Elks hosting Carl Albert. Merritt goes to Minko, and Hollis finally at home this week with Mountain View Gotebo. Tough task there. Number 3 team in Class C for the Hollis Tigers. So you can do all that through the app on Paragon TV. Also, Skinny on Sports podcast available anywhere. I mean anywhere. You find podcasts, we're there as well. Jared, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Went up to Woodward last night. Watched a quarter and a couple of minutes of football. It was an interesting thing. The Woodward, the 8th grade game went off as normal. Then the 7th grade game, it was only supposed to be a quarter because they didn't have enough guys, which was interesting because it looked like they had more guys than we did. Mm-hmm. But whatever. I played, they call it the 5th quarter, and then they actually put 5 more minutes on the clock. So it's about a quarter and a half of junior high football. Compton did not, I think he may have done something it's almost impossible to do in a football field. He managed to not make contact with anybody the entire time.
Oh, come on.
No, but I tell you what he did have. He had a pick.
Oh, good.
He had an interception.
Did he get a turnover chain?
No, there's no turnover chain,
thrown?
Jared. It's 7th grade football.
Hey,
He got an attaboy and a pat on the butt. Maybe the helmet. Way to go.
Here's some ice cream on
And
the
I heard him
window.
yelling, "Let's go!" like they all do there
There
all
you
of
go.
a sudden.
Yeah.
But yeah, an interception for young Wyatt.
Awesome.
And then so the series before, Rosiah got an interception, and took her right to the house. And for a split second, I thought, oh my gosh, Wyatt's not as fast as Rosiah.
He thought that was
The angle was closed a little quicker down that near sideline. No, but it was, he switched to safety this week.
okay.
And, man, as soon as they threw it, I was like, he's got that one. You could just see, like,
Read it.
he did. And he's
Yep.
back in the car after
It's
it's
like
over.
a center fielder.
He's like, I knew it. I knew that guy was off. I knew one of them was coming to me. I knew.
Yeah.
Okay, good
That's
job.
cool.
Way to go. So, yeah, interception. Both Elk City teams win again, 7th and 8th grade. Good stuff.
That's great.
Really good stuff by the junior Elks. So, what'd you do last night?
It's the first night in quite a while I was actually at home all night. So I just I was picking up the garage a little bit, picking up the house a little bit. Nothing major. Nothing crazy. Allie made a great dinner because we were home and had time. She made some meatloaf and mashed potatoes
Ooh,
and
that
gravy.
sounds good. Meatloaf sounds really good.
Just for the weather. She goes, I think
Yeah.
I want meatloaf. I said, loaf it up. Let's
You
go.
know what else sounds good? Because, we had chili the other night because it's a little bit cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not quite chilly weather, but, hey, close enough. You know what else is one of those good hearty meals that I like when it's cold?
What's that?
Chicken and dumplings.
Yes, that's good too.
I love chicken and dumplings.
Allie's done that. She's a great cook. I'm very lucky. Yeah, made a. I'm looking at this. I mean, what is this? Thanksgiving?
Did you do something wrong?
What is this? Sunday after church? What is this?
Did you do something wrong?
If I did something wrong, I'm going to do a lot of wrong things to get good meals like that. Why would that
I
give me
don't-
a good meal if I did something
No,
wrong?
it feels like you're doing some extra sucking up. At
Oh
the
no,
moment.
no. I'm very compliment. It was a great meal.
Okay.
Maybe because, like I said, it's been okay. Let's think
Forever
about it.
since you cooked. Don't say that.
Not that. No.
Don't say
Forever
that.
since we've been
It's
home.
not going to work.
We played. We were at Softballville's Thursday night. Of course, we were in Canadian Friday,
Yeah.
and plus Katie had to play on Friday because they didn't play on Labor Day because their league games are on Monday, so they played. So they weren't home
Busy.
for that. Saturday, Sunday at the fields all day. It felt like and night almost. Had league games Monday night. So Tuesday night, last night was our free night. We have practice tonight. League games Thursday, and of course Friday we're back at the football field. So she took advantage of it.
Very good.
She loves cooking, and I'm lucky to have a really good cook
Yes, you are.
for my wife.
So watching not
I
only
married a cook, and then I got a wife out of the deal.
you did something wrong. I don't know what it is, but you did something wrong. So watching the junior high football games, also had an eye down here with the Elkats and Weatherford. Coming into that game, Weatherford was undefeated in District 4A1. The Elkats, if you looked at the standings, I think it showed them actually third just because of the amount of games played, but they were second with only 2 district losses, both of which are walk-off losses, one to Woodward, one to Weatherford. And, man, there was just so many opportunities for Elk City to put that game away. They scored a run, I think it was the 3rd inning, but still second and third, nobody out. 1-0, unable to push anything else across. Then you get to 2-0, then Lou hits a home run to make it 4-0, and going into the 6th inning. And I kind of put my phone away thinking, I'll check it a little bit. And just a little bit I checked, and Harley Chisholm had hit a 2-run home run for Weatherford in the 6th to pull back within a couple of runs, and then, or that may have been the 5th. It may have been the last 3. I'll have to look at my phone. Anyway, but Elk City has a 4-2 lead going into the final frame. And a 2-run, a walk, 2-run double. Next thing you know, 4-4 going to extra innings, and then a single and what has to have been an error in center field that allowed another, both runs to score in the 8th inning, 6-4, and Weatherford comes away with another win that, golly, if you just kind of watch the game, the way the game transpired, you feel like the Elkettes should be the ones at the top of the district with a pair of wins over the Lady Eagles instead of the way it is in real life with Weatherford winning both of those games in dramatic comeback fashion And so now the Elkettes going to have to scratch and claw as hard as they possibly can to be able to finish in second place, which would then the reward would be hosting a regional tournament here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I always chalk those games up to you never know when you play a team that you're so familiar with and who's had success against you, so they never stop believing, and that's a rivalry. All those components throw in there, but also I try to be more optimistic, and it sucks in a sense that it makes it that much harder. You're going to need some help to get the district title.
Oh, that's over.
Right. Unless something crazy happens, or is that just locked up?
It's pretty well over.
Yeah.
By the way, Madison went a long way. He said dove for the ball in center field trying to make a play, and then it got away, and that's why they got all the way around. So It wasn't an error. It was just hustle play that didn't quite work out.
Right. But you would hope, as tough as this district appears to be with Weatherford, Woodward, right? Woodward.
Well, it's Weatherford's on top, 9-0. Then you got Woodward 6-3, Bethany 5-3, Elk City 5-3.
Okay. But I'm looking at hindsight, looking down the road. You play in a district like this, it makes those playoff games with out-of-district opponents that are coming to town, you hope, knock on wood, much more easier.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Been in the fire is what you're saying. And it's a young team.
It is a young team. That's
for the most part.
We have to kind of remember that was such a really senior-laden team last year. And look what this team is doing. That's exciting moving forward for the next couple years, but it just sucks that losing like that last night.
So here's the standing: 6-3 Woodward, so they'd be right now second, at least if you look at it. But everybody's tied in the loss column. So Woodward with one fewer game to play. They go to Weatherford. They play Bethany at home, and they play Clinton at home. So, that Weatherford game looming as a possible loss. They've also got 22. Their district point differential or run differential is 22 in case of a tie, which Elk City and Woodward, they've split, so I think it would probably go to that, or be my guess. Bethany, 5-3. They have by far the toughest schedule. At Woodward, at Elk City, at Weatherford, and then a home game against Kingfisher. They've lost both games they played against the two teams tied there, 0-1 against Woodward, 0-1 against us. They do have the best point district run differential, though, at 28. Then the Elkettes at Kingfisher host Bethany, and Elk City's got a pair of games against Mount St. Mary, who is at the bottom of the district. They haven't won a district game yet. So if you look at point differential or run differential, it says point on the website, so I just wrote it down that way. If you look at the run differential, those two games against Mount St. Mary ought to be really a big boost to the Elkettes. Plus, they don't have a game with Weatherford anymore, whereas the other two do. So, to me, it comes down to, for the Elkettes, needing Weatherford to beat both teams again, which is Woodward and Bethany, and you yourself needing to win them all. And the one game against, you're done with Woodward, you're done with Weatherford. So the Bethany game looms large here to kind of solidify your spot. But what really stings so much is if you just hold on to that thing last night, you're in such a great spot at that point. Because first off, you're already just 2 losses. Then maybe you can take advantage of an upset for the district crown. As far as now, you're just trying to scratch and claw into second place and being able to host. So that's what happened last night. In 4A1, in 2A1, Merritt is on top at 4-2. They're done with district play. Texoma 2-1. Merritt and Texoma split. Texoma still has Hooker, who is in the bottom of the district, and then Mangum, who is right behind them twice. If you're the Oilerettes, I'm afraid you're going to rue the day you lost to Hooker. Hooker's only district win was against Merritt. And that's one of those that when you look back at it, Texoma sweeps Mangum instead of a 2-way tie with the split, and then you get down to the run differential. I don't think that's the way that's going to work. So you've got Merritt and Texoma at the top. Texoma probably with the better deal if they could beat Mangum. And then 2A2, Hinton and Hobart are tied. They're done. They split at 5-1. I'm going to have to look at what that tiebreaker is. Is it the district run differential, or is it how you did against the next best team, which is Sayre in third? And Hobart did better than Hinton did against Sayre, I think. I forgot to write that down. One of them beat Sayre by a combined 12-1. The other one beat them like 11-6. So that's kind of the rundown of what we got for fast pitch softball.
I'm impressed. Good job.
What about baseball? How you feeling?
Major League Baseball?
Major League Baseball. You've got to feel way
little
better.
Bit of hope. I mean, 4 in a row for the Rangers.
You have to feel way better than you did this time last week when I was forcing you to talk about it, and you were kind of clamming up, not talking about it.
I was, over here contemplating how to tie a noose. No, that's great. 4 in a row and big opportunity with, obviously on the road playing Toronto, who's also in a chase for the wild card. And it's a 4-game series, so if they can win a couple more, that really push them back. And then looking ahead, admittedly last night after got the W, what's left? So looking ahead, wrapping up the season with the Mariners, which I also believe is a 4-game series too. So not only
they got them twice, don't they?
I think you're right.
I'd say we looked at this. This series was the one they had to do well in, and they have a chance to sweep the Blue Jays today, right?
It's a 4-game.
It's a 4-gamer. Oh, so they've just won. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah,
because then you can go 3-1.
Yeah, and so not only is there an opportunity for a wild card berth, but the AL West is still very much in play for Houston, Mariners, and of course Rangers. So, but Max Scherzer had a tricep injury, arm spasm, something's going on there. They're going to have an MRI today and find out what's really going on. But the reason to get him was to have not just get to the postseason, but have postseason success. He's a big key to that. And if he's not there, that kind of puts a damper on the opportunities. But we'll see what happens. He was wise to pull. He basically pulled himself out.
Oh yeah, you can see him save my tricep.
Yeah, he tried to.
I thought he said popped. That's what was scary.
Yeah, he didn't even. He's like, well, see if you can throw, and he's like, nah, take me out. So that was. You see other guys go, I'll just muscle through it. I'll just deal with the pain and play. But we'll see. But yeah, they are outside of that, like you said, getting healthier in other key spots. Bats appear to be coming alive. We'll see. There's hope there. The West is crazy. Knew it would be. Just hope it wasn't going to come at the expense of the Rangers taking a downfall, but it has. But part of me, deep down, I didn't want to say it because of how baseball works. You talk about it, you jinx it. Part of me thought they can't be this bad this long. This is a slump. The slump came at the most inopportune time of the season. They hadn't really had one all season long, but there it was. Maybe this is the upside of it. Maybe they're out of it. We'll see. That's baseball, and I'm glad we're talking baseball on September 13th.
7 of their last 18 against the M's. 3 games set at home next weekend, and then the 4-gamer
that ends the season.
The weekend after that, with Cleveland, Los Angeles, and Boston sprinkled in there as well. So good side. They've come back quite a bit.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Well, you could hear trash cans really good in Globe Life, I'm sure.
Ouchies.
Yeah.
The old text line giving it to you.
Well, it's fine.
And by the way, Houston.
If they can sleep at night knowing they're cheaters, that's okay. It's
Houston, they lost 2 in a row to Oakland. That's not the way.
I knew they lost last night. I didn't know if it was 2.
I think they lost 2 in a row to Oakland. Let's check the
Those
standings.
are pretty much must-wins.
Let's check the standings in the
wins.
NL Central.
Yeah, what's that look like?
Looks like the Brewers.
They too?
Brewers are 5 games ahead of the Cubs. They put some distance the last week or so between them and the Cubbies. So 144 games played. That means they've got a 5-game lead in the loss column with 18 to go. Surely to goodness they can hold on to that. You would like to think. And plus the wild card appears to be pretty well in hand, even if they don't. So Will's Cubbies will be fighting it to try to hold on to that spot. They would be the second wild card at the moment, 2 ahead in the loss column over the Diamondbacks, with the Marlins, the Reds, and the Giants right there in contention. Let's talk about the Thunder Arena. That news, there was a little bit of that scuttlebutt this summer about what might happen, and then it kind of died down. You weren't really sure, and then all of a sudden, bam, out of nowhere, there's a proposal, there's an idea. I'm sure there's renderings, or in the works anyway.
I haven't seen any. But,
but that there's some sort of idea if they have a price tag.
Sure.
And that price tag is $900 million, which on its face seems like, holy cow, it's a lot of money. And also, so $900 million for the stadium, or for the arena, I guess we should call it. The Thunder committing $50 million. So that means that
let's be clear, the owners are committing $50.
That's right.
That is, I don't know if that's unheard of, but
it's low. It's unheard of low in a lot of these situations.
A lot of other owners commit more.
Yeah, for instance, like the Clippers are about to have their own arena get away, instead of sharing. $1.8 billion is the price tag, and Ballmer's paying for it all. The ownership group for the Warriors, I think they were like 90%.
Ah, okay.
So now,
well, it's a nice little caveat to say, hey, by the way, the owners are paying $50 million of this.
Yeah, but it looks so small.
Drop
though.
in a bucket compared to 90 or 900.
It does. That's the one thing about it. It looks like, oh, hey, thanks for nothing. At the same time, here are some numbers that I unearthed. That if you're worried about 7% of the cost coming from the ownership group versus 93% coming from the 1 cent sales tax, the vote on December 12th will be just to extend the sales tax that's already in place coming from MAPS. So it's not a new tax per se. How much money do you think the Thunder? How much economic impact do you think the Thunder holds to Oklahoma City annually?
I saw this in a write-up. It's annually. Annually. I'm horrible with numbers, but I think I'm digging the memory bank. It's like $350 million.
How about $600 million?
$600 million annually. That's pretty good.
The annual economic impact that the Thunder has for Oklahoma City is $600 million, and also creation of 3,000 jobs.
Is that on average with or without playoffs?
That is just, I'm sure it is, the average economic impact.
Sure. Okay.
So $600 million, 3,000 jobs. The Thunder started play in 2008. So by the time the arena would open, which would be 29 and 30, 2029, 2030 season. That would be the 21st season. The Thunder would have had a total economic impact of $12.6 billion with a B. And with the agreement that the Thunder would make, starting at the vote all the way through, that they would guarantee to be here through 2050, that opens up another $15 billion worth of impact with the seasons that they would guarantee. I didn't realize this, but did you realize the current commitment to the arena ran out earlier this year?
I think so.
That may have been when everything started getting talked about. They're on a short-term deal right now. Both sides, I think, appear there's no contention like there was in Seattle until now, or until December 13th. And then at that point, we might see, let's not kid ourselves. The reason why Oklahoma City has the Thunder is because Clay Bennett and that ownership group couldn't get a deal done with the people in Seattle to build a new arena. Mm-hmm. And there are a few different spots, Seattle being one of those, that would love to have them back. Kansas City, there's different places that, you hear of. Vegas, I'm sure, right there in the running. And so, does $900 million seem like a whole bunch of money? It does. Does $900 million seem like a whole bunch of money as compared to $12.6 billion? Not really as much.
$900 million seems like a worthy investment for those numbers, for the return that you're going to get.
Exactly.
I think the difference, though, you mentioned Seattle and that whole situation when they chose not to build a new arena and keep them in Key Arena, and then ownership said, okay, then we're pulling out. The difference is ownership is still the same. Then it was new ownership. It was Clay Bennett and his crew of basically Oklahomans. And this is still, Clay Bennett still owns the team. And I don't think he has any desire to move the team or sell the team.
No.
I don't think that's a thing. I think the atmosphere is more pro keeping the Thunder as far as the fans are concerned. I think that's a thing that this comes with the territory of having a big league team. It's like you gotta invest in them to keep them and to get that return. So I don't. When the news broke yesterday, the first thing I was looking for was where's the negative reaction. I'm looking for the negative reaction. And of course, there's always going to be some, but it was more positive than negative. Because I think the plan was well thought out where it won't burden taxpayers. It's not it's just an extension. It's not
something
addition.
that was already there.
It's already on there. If people took the time to understand that, they'd understand that this isn't going to hurt my pocketbook or my property tax or what is it, sales tax?
Yeah, sales tax.
Yeah, so it's not going to change anything. It's just going to extend it, and all for a good reason. I mean, people look at sports as a luxury, but when you mention jobs and economic impact, that ripple effect is huge. And I think Oklahoma City, you could see where they have been very proactive in developing more hotels, apartments, stuff like that, more stuff to do in Oklahoma City. And this adds to that. So I think it's a great idea. I think the plan is a good idea. That's what I'm saying. The plan's a good idea.
And it's the timing is good too. I just got a text that look at oil's as high as it's been in a while.
That's great.
Which could help. Which could help with maybe some of that private money. Also, timing of you went through the last 2 or 3 seasons of crap, and now when you're going to vote on this, you see big time light at the end of the tunnel coming with a great young team with what SGA has done this summer, solidifying himself. I mean, now you're starting to hear. I just saw Zach Lowe, one of the main NBA guys out there, talking about with SGA's summer and how he did at the FIBA World Championships, and just the idea of what that brings to a young Oklahoma City team. And there's a lot of buzz around this team, so timing wise, it's perfect. They probably wouldn't hurt to get off to a pretty good start next year, just in case.
Oh yeah,
in the first month or so. But I do think that I think if this is presented the right way, there's always going to be people that don't have anything to do with sports that are going to hate it, and that is what it is. But if it's presented in the right way, which I think they've started to do, just right here off the bat, I think if you get the numbers out there in front of people and what they're doing. And, I mean, you can even go back to, think of this city in 2008 and think of what it is now, how it's regarded, not only nationally but even internationally. We talked about that. It's one of the best 50 cities in the world for, food.
Yeah.
That came out, that wasn't happening all that time ago.
Well,
so, it all works together.
Yeah, and international, I've heard this said before, people will travel international and they'll say, someone asks, where are you from? You say, well, Oklahoma. And they immediately say, oh, Thunder.
Yeah, well, for sure. That's how it goes. So,
now, I got 2 questions. I know we got to move on. But one, where should the arena go?
It's going downtown.
Somewhere downtown? Mm-hmm. Well, I knew that, but where? Are they replace the Cox Center? There's been talk of knocking that down and putting it right there.
I never saw that.
I saw that. I think someone just speculated.
Somebody, yeah.
I think it was Carlson just speculated on that. Or there's other empty air on the other side of the river, maybe on the south side of the river. I don't know. And 2, what's going to happen to Paycom? They're going to keep it, knock it down. What do they do with that? Make it an entertainment venue only?
Yeah, but I think that's a big part of the problem with it is, and I heard that Jim say this yesterday, and I've heard Matt Ravis mention it a bunch of times. If you look at the difference in quality of concerts that's coming to Paycom versus the BOK in Tulsa, BOK is getting all the biggest and biggest names. And I guess it's something to do with the loading docks, getting in, aren't.
Oh, I've said this before.
Great.
I've been to concerts in both, and I don't know what it is, but they sound better at the BOK.
Well,
I'm not a. I guess we do have an ear for stuff like this in radio, but and maybe it was where I was sitting, but it just sounded better in the BOK than it did in Paycom. I can't explain it. The acoustics, something like that. Maybe it was where I was sitting and where I was receiving the music. But I've heard that too. I've heard concerts are more inclined to go to BOK, and I just thought, well, that's because Paycom is occupied by the Thunder. a lot. I mean, who occupies BOK?
Yeah, and it's also
Arkansas and OU one time a year. I mean, who else is there?
and who knows what? It's also 6 years newer.
It is newer, yeah.
So the advancements are here or there, but
exciting. It's exciting.
it is for sports people. I just don't. Are there enough non-sports people that'll throw a big enough fit to not do this? Because and this isn't necessarily the Thunder, but the city of Oklahoma City, they can also work this into future projects that benefit everybody. Hey, we keep on with this sales tax.
Yeah.
Keep on with the maps. Look at what else we can do. We have we're going to move things around because our man Johnny Eastham is in the house. Big Elk defensive coordinator Johnny Eastham. How are you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you, Skinny?
Doing well. Glad to have you. It's awful nice of Coach Maynard to put you, in between these two games.
Yeah.
Canadian off of last week and Carl Albert this week. Let's look back, though. A week ago, I thought you guys defensively kind of did what you have to do against a team like that. Got a couple of stops, a fourth down, created a couple of turnovers, at least in the first half, had the offense in position to really make that a game, and for the first quarter and a half it was.
Oh, yeah, that first half, I mean, it was when you go back and watch the film, for a quarter and a half, we're right there where we wanted to be. They've been blowing people out, hadn't been in a close game, and that was our goal. We were trying to wear them down offensively, control the clock, and then defensively just stop the home run plays. But I mean, hats off to them. They're a great team. Had a bunch of returning starters, really good skill guys. And, we had a few things happen towards the end of the first half that kind of put the momentum on their side, and it just kind of went a little downhill from there. But we still saw a lot of good things in the second half too, though.
Yeah, against a guy like Cavalier, you're so concerned with him throwing it. You're also so concerned with him running it. And then, like, their actual true run game kind of gets lost in the shuffle, I'm sure, because there's so much attention paid because he is such a great player.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, and that's the one guy that they lost last year. I can't remember his name. Number 10, their running back. He was a really good runner. Well, they just replaced him with another really good running back. But Cavalier, he's added a new dimension to his game. He's a little bigger, a little stronger, and probably faster. And, it's tough. I mean, you're worried about him, hitting you deep, and then at the same time he can scramble around, or they've got just a called run play that's going to hit big.
How is it? And I'm writing this as far as the non-district scheduling goes. Obviously Canadian good, Carl Albert good. We'll talk about them coming up. But how do you keep your guys' heads up? Like, listen, I know the outcome didn't go our way. It really doesn't mean anything. This isn't a district game. I mean, how do you keep that thought process with those young men? Because that's hard to do with kids that they wear stuff on their shoulder and everything. How do you do that?
Yeah, and I will say, Coach Maynard, that was his first message right after the game. You guys, we played hard. The effort's been there for all the games, obviously, but keep, stick it out, stay with us, stay the course, because these games, they matter. Don't get me wrong. You want to win every game, but in the as far as the long-term goals that we have, they don't matter as far as playoff runs, things like that. And that's been the message really the whole week. Hey, stay the course. We're fine. And these games, when you're playing the caliber of teams that we played last week, and of course the one we're going to play this week, it's just going to help you down the road. So if you stay the course, we'll be just fine. Yeah,
there's not a whole bunch of people in 4A1 that have back-to-back games against what could be the 3A Division II state champion in Texas, and I'm just going to say it, what will be the 5A state champion in Oklahoma. And if we had a whole class playoff bracket, might be the state champion in Oklahoma.
Yeah, very well could be. They're loaded. I mean, they were loaded last year. Obviously, they blew out their opponent and beat a really good McAllister team, the state championship last year. And it kind of felt like once they got us, they started rolling. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying. Carl Albert started out, they were
1-2
when they came in to face us. They ended up finishing, 12-2. Didn't lose after they played us and kind of got the thing rolling there. But it goes back to, it doesn't necessarily those first, for us, 4 weeks of not necessarily preseason, but non-district play. As long as you're getting better every week, that's just going to build once you get into district play. But yeah, it's they're good. Carl Albert's definitely good.
So we saw, I'd say more spread out quick little guys, except for 35, I guess, last week. This week, the challenge, I would assume, defensively, number one, is figuring out a way to tackle 21, Xavier Robinson, who, I mean, if folks didn't watch the game last year, the Elks had some big dudes last year, and that dude was as big as any of them, and he was the one running the ball.
Yeah, 6'2", 230. Who knows how fast he is? He's fast enough. I know that. Yeah, no, he's a special player. He is, and they do a lot of good stuff. I mean, they're just it's a great program, great tradition. They're so well coached. Coach Dunn over there, Carl Albert, does a great job. It's not just him. I mean, it's up and down the line. Their offensive line is, I mean, they're very understated in my opinion. I mean, they're really solid. Got a lot of guys back, but when you have a guy like that, yeah, it makes things definitely click a little better.
We're hanging out with Big Elk defense coordinator Johnny Eastham. What do you notice maybe a little bit different this year? You know, when we played them a year ago, DeQuazy was hurt. They had a different quarterback in there, Ferris. Now this year, they've got the kid that's committed to OU as a junior, Sperry. What do you notice that maybe they're doing a little bit different because of his talents and because of the guys on the outside, or is it just kind of status quo?
Well, no, it's a little different. Ferris, he's a Division I baseball player, has a great arm, and he actually ran the ball really well too. He's a tough kid. I've got to know him throughout the summer with my middle son. They went to some quarterback stuff together. Really good kid, tough kid. But this the kid that came in from Texas, he kind of reminds me a lot of Cavalier. He runs the ball real well too. They're getting him involved with more quarterback run game. So you've got 21 to worry about with Robinson, and Sperry is the quarterback's name. They're going to run the ball with him too, and he's an OU commit, so he can obviously sling it too. But that's what I noticed. It's kind of similar to what we just saw with Canadian.
Yeah, that was my next question. I mean, if you slow down the running back, it's the quarterback who's come in and have had a lot of success moving in there. It's homecoming. Coach's nightmare, right?
Yeah. Since I've been into coaching, you might not be a huge fan. It's great. I mean, it's good for people, the alumni to come into town. You've got. I'm sure we'll have a pep rally Friday, and it'll be a great crowd. But as far as some of the distractions, that's what you worry about. But I think our kids will be locked in.
I asked Coach Hunt about this at halftime last Friday because I've gotten that question. What are we doing scheduling Carl Albert for homecoming? And his response was, we don't want it to be in a district game because of those distractions that are created throughout that week. And to me, that makes perfect sense. Because the first game is always for the little cheerleaders that are always out there, and this one just kind of slotted in there the way it's slotted.
Yeah, we have a lot of different events going on throughout the season with mass band, and it's great because it brings out great crowds. So it was just kind of how it fell. It wasn't. I mean, we didn't go into it and say, "Hey, Carl Albert, we want you for homecoming." You only got so many non-district home games, so right. That's just kind of how it fell.
For you, defensively, of the Elks so far. Are there a couple of guys that maybe have exceeded what you thought they could be here in the early going?
Yeah, I think so. We've had a few injuries, pretty key players early on that hopefully will get them back here for district play. But we've had some young guys step up. Briggs Robertson's done a great job on the defensive line. He's actually been a little banged up too. We've had a bunch of the sophomores that have stepped up and played tough, and then we have on defense, man. We have a lot of new faces, and then a lot of guys playing different positions. We got a senior, Braxton Robertson, who's been an inside linebacker for his whole career, 3 years, and we've moved him to outside linebacker, and he's done great. Guys like Alex Cupp as a senior has had to step up due to some injuries. Has played really, really good on the back end on defense, playing our safety, strong safety spot. But yeah, we see a lot of good things, and we have a lot of talent. It's just a lot of new faces, completely new faces, and then a lot of guys playing new spots too. So it's taking a little time.
Yeah, and I would say how much at the end of the day. could these early season non-district injuries really kind of start paying dividends later on when we get into when the Bullets start flying to district?
Oh, it'll be huge, because going into the season, that was kind of our big question mark. Was we knew we have a lot of talent on this team. We just didn't know we have some young guys as far as depth, and that was one of our biggest concerns, was depth, and getting these guys thrown into the fire, into playing two really good opponents. That's gonna be huge going forward.
Going forward, sure, it's Carl Albert this week. Next week, bye week, and then district. Talk about district coming. I mean, it starts off with one of the contenders in Clinton. Of course, Weatherford looks very formidable this year. I'm kind of piggybacking off my question earlier. Talk about how playing this tough non-district play games are preparing you for teams like Weatherford and Clinton and others. Oh,
it'll be huge. I mean, when you play the two teams that we're about to play, or the second team there that we're about to play with Canadian and Carl Albert, it's going to be huge going forward, because you're going to get to a spot in every game. Coach Maynard talks about it all the time. Every game you're going to have adversity. You're going to have people are going to make plays. We're going to, give up a play on offense, defense here and there. It's just how you respond. And when you play teams like that we've played, like the last two that we'll play, going forward, hopefully it's gonna make you tougher mentally and physically. So I think it'll be big for us going into districts.
If there's something that you want to see improved defensively this week, and then of course starting with Clinton in a couple of weeks, what's something that you want to see get a little bit better to be able to have a chance to win another district title?
Right now, the biggest thing we've got to not necessarily improve. We've got to keep the effort up. Yeah. Tackling's got to get better throughout every position, and then up front, I want some of those younger guys that are getting in there just understanding what they're doing and do it in a more physical way. That's been one of the things that we've really been stressing this last week, and going forward, we lost a lot up front last year. And that's where we're replacing a lot of guys. So these young guys are, I mean, again, they're getting thrown in the fire. They're not playing the Sisters of the Poor by any means. So if they can do it against the opponents that we're facing right now, it's going to be huge for them going forward.
Excited. I mean, it really is exciting to see, because you do see glimpses, just every third play, like, that's that number. And then you start to remember, and I think Case and Cobb against Bridge Creek, all of a sudden it's like, who was 71? I don't remember seeing him. And then there he was, flashing, and you see different guys at different times. So there's talent. It's just a matter of harnessing it and getting it led, getting somebody to lead it kind of in the right way.
Yeah, that's the thing too. We lost a really good senior group. We got a great senior group coming forward, and it seems like it happens every year. We have the same talk. When these seniors, when it's their time, it takes a little bit to learn how to lead. Learn how to be a vocal leader, learn how to lead by example. And we're going into our fourth game now, and that's usually when it starts kind of clicking. So I mean, I think going forward, we see a lot of good things from up and down the board, from the great senior group to the young guys.
Yeah, Coach Maynard describes it as the pecking order, and there's been some of that. I think we've seen some of that growing pains of, well, do I need to step up here? We saw Cole Bowie kind of do that in the Bridge Creek game, and so that was going to be my question. Like, when do you as a coach start seeing that click?
Well, hopefully we see it click Friday. But no, it usually takes, if you can get it going into district play, then that's great. And that's usually when it's going to take, we're 6 weeks into the season now, when you talk about preseason. So it takes a little while, but after about, this third, fourth game, and we've seen it this week in practice. Coach Maynard challenges these guys, the seniors especially, and not just seniors, any leader. Doesn't have to be a senior, but usually it's your seniors. He's challenging them weekly to start stepping up, and we're starting to see it. We've had a really good, last week was a really good week of practice, and this week's been great. It's nice too, because it's not 150 degrees outside, right. So that helps. But we've had a really good week so far these last 2 days, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it more and more.
Yeah, because everyone that's played and gone, no matter what sport it is, you always kind of look up to a certain guy or a certain couple of guys, and then all of a sudden you get there that last year and you're going, where'd they go?
Yeah.
And then you look in the mirror and go, damn, that's me.
Yeah.
How do I do this?
Yeah.
You're almost not prepared for it until it's time.
Well, and especially, I mean, it's great. We've had a great summer. You talk about a guy like Kason Cobb. That's one I should mention too. He's worked his tail off this summer, and he's put on a good weight. And I mean, I remember seeing him the first time we got out there in practice. It's like, man, you look big.
Yeah.
He's got guns on him now, and we've had a great summer. So when you're talking about leading these guys, it's one thing to lead them in workouts, and we were getting, they were doing that, and then we start going into practice. Those first 2 weeks of practice, when you're not playing anybody, it's a little tough. But now, once we get into the games, it's just it's a step, it's a process to understand. Hey, this is what I need to do now.
Awesome. Johnny Eastham, defense coordinator of the Big Elks. Thanks for stopping by.
Well, thanks for having me.
We'll head you downstairs here in just a little bit you get to do all the stuff.
Oh, nice.
It's like the car wash.
Car wash.
It's like the KECO car wash, the Paragon car wash instead of the ESPN. I appreciate your time. We're going to step aside when we come back. Just wrapping it up with a little bit of college football stuff on a Wednesday. It's going to be a fun week. I expect a humongous crowd.
Oh, it's going to be packed. I've already had a friend saying, can you reserve me a seat? You got to get there early, buddy.
Might want to be up there with us where it's dry, too. Johnny Eastham hanging out with us. Now, hopefully Zach's not listening because he'll try to come in here in the whole show.
Oh, yeah, he'll want to talk football. Now, I will say I don't watch near as much as I used to now that I'm coaching, but
you probably have to go watch some of your own stuff.
He's watching football. He's watching film on other teams.
Yeah.
That's what's football he's watching.
All right,
no, I still watch some football.
So let me, both you guys, this is the question on the table. I know it's only 2 weeks, but give me something that you have liked about OU and something you have liked about OSU.
Coach, you go first.
Something I've liked. They're, of course, watching the defense. Their defense is playing a lot more aggressive. They're tackling the ball better, making plays on the back end, and I don't want to make anybody mad. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched the down of OSU yet.
Okay.
I'm an OU guy. I don't hate OSU by any means. I haven't watched anything.
It's been a little bit more difficult with the 9:30 start last week against Arizona State for sure. What about you, Jared?
I wrote it down. OU, I like their I know it's 2 games, but their defense appears to have a little bit of a pulse to them. Statistically, they're pretty good. I think top 10 in overall defense. Their pass defense is 3rd in completion percentage, 8th in stopping the team on 3rd down. So there's some signs there. And then you got like Bowman who came in. He's playing good. Of course, McCullough. You would hope, and we said this going into the season, when bringing those guys in, these high recruits, these high portal guys, surely that means they're going to be better. And anything was better in the last few years. But I know it's 2 games, but I like what I see on the defensive side. There seems to be a little extra pep in their step. Like that, defensive coach? You like that answer?
Tackling. It's simple. Tackling.
Tackling, yeah.
Through 2 games last year, they had missed 33 tackles. That's OU's defense. Through 2 games this year, they missed 7.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that leads into stopping people on 3rd down, and all of that goes hand in hand when you knock them on the ground when you touch them.
And all of that, what I said, bringing those guys in, added depth. And we said this last against SMU. That's a game they lose in the 4th quarter because they look tired or missing tackles, like you said. They made defensive stops in the 4th quarter when they needed them.
OSU, only 1 giveaway through 2 games, considering they've been playing 3 quarterbacks. Right. It's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah.
And it was right there at the very first. I think Rangel threw an interception that first game right in the first quarter, I think. And so those guys have done a really good job, considering there's 3 guys, of not turning the ball over. Now, something I don't like about starting with OSU, he's still playing 3 quarterbacks. At some point, that has got to stop.
Right.
And we talked about when that might be yesterday. Surely by conference play, that has got to stop, and you got to go with somebody. So that's what I don't like about OSU. OU, I don't like the fact that offensive line hasn't dominated in the run game. 3.5 yards a carry against Arkansas. I get it. You scored 73, but still, you weren't able to just impose your will against Arkansas State. Offensive line-wise, it's a little concerning. I know Biedenbow always gets them going in the middle of the year. A lot of times It's after they lose to Texas. It seems like then they decide, 2015, 2018, and all of a sudden you look back and you go, oh, why aren't we just handing the ball to Rodney Anderson every time or whatever it is and getting the offensive line going? So that's something that with what we saw from Texas this week, that O-line needs to start gelling before that game and not after.
I'm a little in the
game.
same vein of what I don't like. It's offensive play calling. And I was, after the SMU game, thinking it was very benign, it was very vanilla. It was handoff here, handoff here, handoff here, not throwing it as much, but he still had 4 throwing touchdowns when he needed it. But he just doesn't want to show anything. Him being Levy. I keep telling myself that. But it's SMU.
He's also thinking our damn offensive line ought to be dominating SMU.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing it?
Yeah.
Go out there and do it.
I would appreciate if you got the horses, then let them run. Open up the playbook. Have fun with it.
Not against SMU.
Yeah, I'm sure he's trying to save some stuff. Maybe I'm kind of
I know what you're going to say.
Both sides of the mouth, but defensive line worries me.
Pressure.
We can't. You've got to get pressure if you're going to go 3 down, 4 down against the 2 teams that they played, and that worries me. I think like I said, the overall defense looks really good. They're playing hard. They're tackling the ball better, but if you don't have dudes to go make a play on their own against Arkansas State and SMU, then it's going to be tough going forward.
Yeah, and I mean, you can look at the pressure stats. Don't look too bad as far as getting pressures.
Don't have true dropbacks and stuff like that.
But at the same time, a sack a game?
Yeah,
it's not the greatest. Not the greatest, for sure. What about has there been something that has just absolutely shocked either one of you around the country? Something that you're just like, I cannot believe that's happening.
I will say Alabama and Clemson are a combined 2-2.
The fact that Texas beat Alabama and handled them.
That was the crazy thing about that. They handled them.
Yeah.
I'm going with Colorado. I cannot believe it.
It's on my list.
Yeah. I cannot believe. I mean, I just can't believe. And it's not that they've won those games. They've looked really good doing it.
Yes.
And Nebraska. Maybe it's more of an indictment on Nebraska and where they're at, that they couldn't just. Because the thing about Colorado to me is, sure, if you want to play 7-on-7, they probably got dudes that can compete with everybody. But then once you get the lines involved, that's where I would have thought Colorado would have their downfall, and they haven't.
Yeah,
man, they've been good. I cannot believe it this fast. Not that I didn't think Dion might turn it around, but
with the turnover he had on that roster,
86. There's only, for those of you that don't know, there's only 85 scholarships. He's got 86 new dudes. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
I had a feeling they'd be good, but not like flashy good like they are.
No.
Just with the skill positions, just all over the place.
Like maybe give USC or Oregon a scare good, but win 3 or 4 games. I mean, that their total was like, what, 3.5 in Vegas or something like that?
Oh, wow.
They're going to blow past that.
Yeah.
Now,
and how about SEC just looking average outside of Georgia, just looking kind of.
Now, see, this is where we've gone to what's something you thought would happen that has. This is where I'm going to puff my chest out because I said the Pac-12 was going to be really good, and the Pac-12 is really good. Mm-hmm. 8 teams ranked, and a bunch of it is quarterback play. You look around the country, there's zero doubt in my mind that the conference with the best quarterback play is the Pac-12.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Well, you got the returning Heisman, and we can say what we want about Lincoln Riley, but he's a great offensive coach.
I was on board with you there about the Pac-12.
And we hadn't seen Rising yet. I mean, Utah winning both those games without Rising.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. Another thing that I said that was going to happen that has so far, and we'll really know this in a couple of weeks, but I also said Notre Dame is going to make the playoff, and watch out. Notre Dame looks really good with Sam Hartman.
After we've said everything, what's surprised us, what hasn't surprised us, after everything we've said, Georgia. They're still Georgia.
Yeah,
They're
we'll
still
see.
a top team. I think they're going to roll.
Oh, they're going to have athletes up and down the line. That's for sure. I mean, they do, but
that weak SEC is going to help Georgia out.
Yeah.
Seeing if I can get anybody to take the bait on that
Is that like when the rest of the Big 12 was horrible and OU was winning all those Big 12 titles?
That may be where we're at.
Is that what we're seeing with the SEC?
Yeah, this is the SEC's Big 12 circa 2017 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I thought this conference was good. 1-5 against the ACC. What's going on here? Or OU in Texas is going to waltz right in there and play for the title next year? You want to talk about funny? That would be funny.
That'd be funny.
Just kidding, Tyler. Just kidding. I know I can't believe he hadn't texted yet. No, it's been kind of a weird season so far, though, to me. Just to start. Now, that could all change here pretty quick, but I think two of the ones that you not even penciled into the playoff, wrote in magic marker into the playoff with Clemson and Bama, having a loss in the first 2 weeks. That's wild.
That is wild.
Yeah.
and haven't looked good in those losses.
No, they've been handled.
Yes.
I mean, physically. You don't see that.
No. LSU got handled physically.
Yes.
By Florida State in the second half. It's a little bit different. Portal? Is this portal?
Oh, yeah, I can get
spreading
started.
things out?
Between the portal and NIL,
Has the portal created parity
Maybe so.
across college football?
That and money and the NIL deals.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's what it's coming down to.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. It's not just the same old, at least not right now.
I like
now, Clemson and
I
Bama
love
could
it.
run the table, and next thing you know, we look up and it's Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, and whoever. But it doesn't feel like that right now.
No, it doesn't.
Thanks for listening. Everybody have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow. Skinny on Sports right here on The Sports Animal.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.